Hey YouTube, welcome back to another video. Today's topic is going to be about why I enjoy talking to older people that are just better than me in general, with a lot of things in my interest, more than people my peers. Now, usually I'm in my 20s and I will go about saying a lot of the things that, yeah, but honestly, like talking to your peers about life and stuff like that, usually at work, it gets old and tiresome really quick. And I find myself just wanting to go home most of the time and just be like, okay, I don't want to talk to anybody, but if you ever talk to somebody at work that's older, like the old heads and stuff like that, usually people that's like 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 years above you, crazy. It's just, you get more insight off the conversations and you get more to learn about things like finances, stocks, money, how to live a lifestyle, actual practical advice to better improve your life, and you would actually leave that conversation feeling fulfilled and actually feeling like you've amounted to something, or you're on the right path. I can't really explain it. I just like, I get this when I talk to people at work or when at school and stuff like that. I usually get those type of moments where I'm honestly just looking at the people I'm talking to, like my peers, because I'm in my 20s and I'm like, okay, all they're just talking about is just partying, going out with girls, and not really having anything in my interests. And I find it to be kind of annoying of just talking to people like that. And yeah, of course, just like, you try to interject, your opinions on things. Like, oh, bro, why don't you like smoking? Why don't you like going getting girls? And why don't you like waste your money on things like clothes? And then, you got to explain yourself. But there's a reason why you don't do certain things, because it's just a waste of time, or people that don't really, I don't care if you don't hit the gym, but it's the type of mindset of people that don't go to the gym, for example. Like, it's not about just looking in shape and being in the best physical shape you can be. It's the mindset part, because the gym builds structure, accountability, and a sense of purpose. And without it, it's a lack of direction, and it kind of shows with everything else they're doing. Like, they're focused on the wrong things that's not going to benefit their lives, momentarily pleasures, things that just doesn't really add up to benefiting them at all. And I find it to be a lack of progress. I find your lack of faith disturbing. I find the lack of faith in the right things they do very disturbing. I don't think that it's really worth the time just talking to people in that manner. And I can't. It's just like I feel like I'm doom scroll. I might as well be doom scrolling, talking to peers, and it's just I don't really leave the conversation like having this knowledgeable thing. I'm over here wasting my time and just really thinking about, like, okay, where is this going? Is this going to go somewhere? And I think to be fair, we're all still young. We're all still trying to figure out our own lives and stuff like that. But I think it's the journey of trying to find your destination. I think that's the big thing. It's never about the destination, but the journey getting there, and going on a quest to find meaning, something meaningful in their lives. I think that's the biggest thing. Because I'm still learning things. I'm not saying I know everything, but I know that I've gotten far from where I used to be, and I'm pretty sure you've gotten far from where you used to be too. It's like being in that awkward middle. I don't know if you guys ever hear like self improvement podcasts. People would say this, like, um, you know you're in this awkward spot where you're not really dealing with people from that's below, just partying on time, drinking, indulging into quick gratifications and stuff like that. You're not with those people, and you're not where you want to be. The people that are above you, the people that are living the lifestyle that you want to live, good mindset, good spirit, finances, and everything. It's just the stuff that you see. What you want, it's not there yet, and you're just in this real awkward spot in the middle, and you're just trying to like get yourself up there. But it's just like, a lot of people find themselves in that spot. I've been in that spot for a couple of years now. Not gonna lie, I used to hang out with a lot of friends and talk to a lot of people, and that go out and just indulge in the stuff, and it gets old. Being with peers that don't really see your passion, that don't really see what drives it, just something meaningful, and just hanging out just to hang out, just going to a random bar on Friday night because it's Friday night. You know what I'm saying? Just going out with the boys, and it's just not, not really celebrating anything. And, of course, your life is short, bro. Hang out, just have fun. Well, yeah, but, it's like I could, save that money. I could invest that money into buying something, for my future self so I can actually, have something tangible that I can hold on to, something meaningful. It's just, once you do it, so here's this. Once you once you hang out so many times, it gets old. And I think I got to that point where I've hung out countless amounts of times, just going to the mall, going up, just hanging out, and then just like, damn, I could be at home, just chilling, just like no purpose of being out, you know. It's not like you celebrating, a big achievement in your life or just something small achievements and stuff like that. Just, the work isn't done yet, and I would rather put my time into something. But enough of that. I don't want to talk too much about what's going on in that particular field. It's just crazy that I really do find talking to people that are older than me, like I said, like years above me, are actually the most meaningful amounts of people that I can find. And you can find these people on YouTube as well. I often find myself listening to a lot of podcasts where the people that are like probably 20 years older than me or something like that, and they have so much life experience, and you learn so much of what to do and what not to do, the decisions you want to make to be the better person, or just, simply making, good choices with money, clothing, style, the right type of people you want, relationships, dating, and all kinds of stuff. And of course, experience helps, but it's also nice to have that person to tell you, like, okay, like if something's happening here, don't do that, go in this direction, because I've lived through that experience. And I get those type of people at work too. You find people at work that's older than you, it's like a breath of fresh air. Like, they're once your age, they're probably gonna talk about like the stock market. Like, yeah, man, the stock market pretty high, the economy's pretty high with getting a house. And when I got my house, I paid only but 20,000 for a down payment. And it's like, the down payment wasn't that bad. And it's just like, man. But they give you a gist of an idea of what to do for when you get around getting your first house, or paying for things. Of course, when things go down, things is not as bad, but we'll see how that goes. But yeah, it's just you get more insight. And say if you have a field that you want to, for me particularly, like to draw and do certain things with my art, and that kind of goes into business making and marketing as well, because you got to market yourself out here as an artist. You're gonna make content and all kinds of stuff so you can get a revenue, because everybody's on their phone and everyone's doing something, so you have to make something out of it. And so they're going to tell you from their own experience, like, yeah, you should, make sure you're posting every single day. You make sure you do this, make sure you do that, make sure, you follow your money, have a, get insurance and all kinds, like just different tactics you can have with, utilizing your money. And there's a lot of things that when you learn from those experiences, you actually walk out of those conversations feeling like, you didn't waste your time. And that's one of the biggest things that I can say. Talking to my peers is a waste of time. I'll just be talking just to talk, and I'm like, dude, what are we talking about? Like, dude, what are we talking about? Just wasting time, just talking about, short temporary pleasures, and like just girls, and all kinds of things that just doesn't add anything. And yeah, I just find it to be a waste of time. I prefer not to indulge in that stuff, because it's just like, when you're in your 20s, especially your mid to late 20s, or just a young man coming up, I'll say that, time is of the essence. They say 20s, you're supposed to lock down and lock in and stuff like that, figure stuff out. And it's just, I hear, like, of course you're supposed to enjoy your life and everything like that, but it's just like when partying and all that stuff is what seemingly they talk about, you hear coming out the people, your peers and stuff like that. It's just, you don't want to be a part of that. You want to take life, not too seriously, but you want to have more of a direction, and there's nothing wrong with that. So yeah, basically with this video, I just wanted to say, yeah, if you find yourself with peers that aren't really sharing the same mindset as you, just exit yourself out the lobby. Don't waste your time with that. And do what's best for you. But thank you guys for listening. Didn't want this video to be too long. Make sure you guys like and subscribe, and peace.